I'm live. You want to go live now? You want to request to be in there?
How do I see you live?
Click on that. Click on the live thing. Hey guys, I got Stu Friedman, my Wharton professor, a guy who just wrote a book on, it's called Parents Who Lead. It's a really, really powerful and useful book. You need to turn my audio and Instagram down, Stu. He's going to join us, and if not, you can just ask him questions here, which is awesome and amazing because Instagram Live is not working these days. So we just talked for quite a while about how we can actually, as parents, we can be leaders in our homes and how we can deal with all the coronavirus, all the things like this. All right, Stu, you joined, but you haven't requested to be live in the video yet.
Okay.
So,
how do I do that?
As soon as you join, you can hang up and join back in. So hang up and then join the thing again and see if it'll let you request to go live. So far, Laura Palmer and Josh Kenetor have asked to go live. If not, you're gonna have to.
I just sent my request.
Good deal. Turn your phone down for a second here. Look at that. Yes. We've got Stu coming in live. It's waiting for him. Should be there in a second.
Enable camera access?
Yep. Yeah, do that. And then we're going to actually not have to do the Skype thing, which is fantastic.
Okay.
All right, guys, you're going to get to ask Stu.
Enable microphone access?
Yes. He spent 30 years. There we go. Working at... Turn off sound there. All right. He spent 30 years working on work-life balance and just came out with a book called Parents Who Lead. And you guys can ask any question you want about parenting, about what matters during coronavirus, and even how to measure the success of your relationships and things like that. So I'm hoping you guys can hear. See, hi from Australia. Got a few hundred people on here. So what do you think? You got a Wharton professor. And we just finished a great podcast. You're going to hear the whole episode on Bulletproof Radio, but I want to know, what do you guys think about parenting, about leading? We got people from Norway on here, but there's no parents. I know there's parents here. I'm going to go outside, get some natural, that's not sunshine. Here we go. How do you measure how successful you are at parenting, or maybe leading as a parent? So what's your take on that?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. There's no answer that I can give you that you can't answer yourself. So every parent's different. Everyone's got a different metric for success. I think many people would consider healthy, strong, independent children who are doing good in the world to be a measure of success. A simpler indicator would be, think about, when your life is over, what do you want your kids to say about you? I just buried my father just a little while ago, a couple months back, and I wrote about him and shared that with some people, and the most poignant responses to that were about how his life being reflected in my feelings and reflections about his impact on me. That was everything. So that's how I'm going to measure my success as a parent, by what my kids would say about me when I'm no longer here.
It's funny that you say that, Stu. A while ago, someone asked me, like, Dave, what do you want your legacy to be? I'm like, I don't care about my legacy. When I'm dead, what am I going to care? The only legacy that really mattered was, what would my kids say about me? That was the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, well, I think that's the most important thing.
Now, Eliana here is asking how old your kids are.
My kids are 32, 29, and 26. And I have a 13-year-old adopted grandson and a 6-day-old biologically produced granddaughter.
It's so much better than the artificially produced 3D printed children. I tried doing that, and man, that is, I don't think I succeeded at 3D printing kids.
Someone just asked about a child with a disability. One of my kids has a mental health disability. He lives with schizoaffective disorder. So if there's a question about that, I would be happy to address it.
Here's one from Josh Perry, unless a question about that pops up. Josh has been on stage at the biohacking conference, which we're hoping to do in July this year. We may push it out again if the government requires it. But he had a bunch of brain injuries and some life-threatening things happen, and sort of redid his life after facing that at a young age. And he's asking, how do you teach your children how to view fear and approach handling fear? I mean, this is a professional BMX rider where, you know, you could die on any trick. He learned how to do it. But for parents who lead, how do you show your kids or teach your kids, hey, this is how you handle fear?
Well, he probably knows more about it than I do. So I would like to defer to him, but I would say, you know, from what I know about leadership and what it takes to be courageous, and we talked a bit about this on the podcast, the key is to acknowledge the fear, to not deny it, but to know that it's real. And to be able to persist despite the fear is the mark of a courageous act. I'm scared. You know, the future's uncertain. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I have some sense of hope, some sliver of optimism that leads me to be able to still act in the face of fear. So I would start by not denying that you're afraid. I think kids benefit from hearing their parents say, yeah, I'm scared. And here's what I'm going to try to do to make the world a little bit better for you, because I love you and I care about you more than anything, and for us and the people that matter to us.
What I've been doing, if it's of value, and Stu, I want you to criticize this from the perspective of parents who lead. Guys, keep in mind, Stu is my professor at Wharton 20 years ago, so I've been his student. You know, he's one of our valued elders. I was just teasing him. He's 67. I'm like, you're not quite 70, so you're not really an elder yet, but you're going to get your bonus points.
I'm working on it.
So with my kids, I just tell them, look, you're going to feel fear, and like this is what it's like in your body, and fear is normal, but you get to decide what you do when you feel that, right? And your body's going to want to do one thing, and your mind's going to want to do another, and you get to decide who wins. I don't know if that's good advice or bad advice. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's it. This, you know, having some measure of control, and I think this is inherent in Buddhist philosophy and many of the world's religions. Is, you know, the world is going to be continually changing. You can't control most of what happens. What you can control is how you respond, and that's the heart of it. And talking about the details of how you responded when things were frightening. And what happened as a result is, I think, the best way to educate kids about how to respond to fearful, uncertain times.
That's a beautiful answer, Stu. Let's do one more question. And you guys, a lot of the questions you're asking are on Bulletproof Radio. As soon as this episode goes live, it should happen relatively soon here. I'm getting episodes out as fast as I can because during the pandemic, a lot of people are listening to Podcast Extra. I want to give you guys quality things to listen to and read and consume. Because this is actually extra time to learn and do some things that you want to do, even though it also can be boring time. So you get to decide whether it's Netflix binge or Bulletproof Radio binge. And I'm hoping that at least some of that is Bulletproof Radio or any book you love or that you think is going to add value, even if it's, you know, the latest cool science fiction, whatever, from Neil Stephenson, because those add value in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So one more question for Stu, and then we're gonna hop off the line and let you go learn some more cool stuff. So bring a good one on. You're going to get a Wharton professor, author of multiple books, who was one of the top 300 execs at Ford Motor Company, answering any question you have about parenting, parents who lead, being a leader at work, working from home, any of that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. Let's look at this one. I like this one. How do you explain to a 4-year-old why all this is happening? Now, remember, Stu's an expert in teaching parents how to lead. So walk us through the leadership perspective on how you talk to a 4-year-old about this.
I think the most important thing to tell kids about what's happening is that is to affirm at every opportunity that you love them and that you care about them and that you're going to do everything in your power to keep them safe, and that there are things in the world that are mysterious and hard to understand. But as human beings, what we try to do is the best we can to understand our world, to not fake it, but to look at the reality, which can be strange and uncertain and mysterious, and to do whatever we can to try to make it better for us and for future generations. And that's what we're trying to do here right now. And I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to make the world a safe one for you and us and the people around us to thrive. That's my commitment to you, because you are the most important thing to me. I think just hearing that and being reassured that, yes, this is a scary time. There are things that happen that we can't control, but we're going to do what we can to control what we can. I think kids can be reassured by that message.
Yeah, the idea that when you're 4, the idea that, you know, there's someone there for you, and they're going to deal with, you know, the scary monsters, and they're going to keep you safe, and that, you know, there's stuff happening, but the odds are very, very high that they'll be safe and everyone will be safe, just like it always was. And that's what I've told my kids. It said, hey guys, you know, you weren't safe before. You were. There's always risk, and
Yeah.
One of the things that risk teaches, you remember when you climbed the tree and you fell out of the tree? Well, falling out of the tree taught you something. So it wasn't risk-free, but it was useful. And, you know, the virus is teaching us to become more resilient as human beings and to be able to be the ones who are healthy. And that if you haven't done that right, or if it's just your time, it's your time. But it was that way before. So I've had a lot of those conversations too, to the extent that's useful. And Stu, I'm just adding additional context, but
That's beautiful.
Your perspective as a leader and teaching parents how to be a leader at work and at home at the same time may be different than how do you directly talk with kids. You and I are not child psychologists.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't pretend to be. But we have distilled some of the key ideas in the literature on child development in the chapter on engaging your kids.
Yeah.
And we write about, in very simple terms, why there's that crocodile. You know, what is it that kids need from us? And they need a sense of safety and security. They need love and attention. They need to be taught values, and they need to know the consequences of their actions. So the question is, you know, if you don't listen to me, I'm putting your head in that crocodile mouth and I'm going to chomp your head off.
Yeah.
That's basically
this is my parenting tool, right?
Providing for his kids.
On that lovely note, Stu, it's really good to see you again. It was about 5 years ago you were on the show for your last book. It's 20 years since I took your class. You've done a lot to really help people who are at work and at home be better human beings. I appreciate you and consider you to be a real genuine leader in the world around us. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. You continue to inspire me with your growth and impact in the world, and much appreciate spending time with you. So thanks so much.
See you all on the show. Bulletproof Radio on iTunes. Download it.
Great to be with you.